And I do sort of wonder, this close to the coronation, whether it's probably going to get as much airtime as it may otherwise have gotten, given that we are now so focused on the coronation.
I think this would probably be the best chance to actually get any significant airtime coverage, just because we know that all eyes are on the royal family. So really anything linked to that, even if it has to do with the Duchess of Sussex's extended family, will likely gain some traction in terms of media coverage. But, it's clear that because Meghan doesn't have any role in the coronation ceremony, she's not even attending, the extent to which there will be significant media coverage is limited. But I do think this is the best chance that they have. And again, it's them telling their truth. So let's see what they have to say.
Now, Kate has largely stayed out of the fray regarding the Sussexes, but it's been reported that she's had a dig about Meghan and her fixation on money. What's she reported as saying?
Well, it's been reported as saying that Kate has, been concerned about Meghan's fixation on status and money, particularly after the revelations that Harry came out with in his tell-all book. It's clear that she's very concerned about her reputation and how that can be monetized in terms of, actual media dollars and, getting all these deals from Netflix and all the things that have come with the fact that she is the Duchess of Sussex. Now, these are just reports. Buckingham Palace hasn't actually confirmed Kate actually having said this. But it doesn't come as a surprise because we know that the relationship between the Duchess of Sussex and Kate Middleton has been frosty, to say the least. So it wouldn't be surprising if that was one of, Kate's concerns. But again, it is speculation. We're not sure entirely. The royal family has made a point of actually not engaging with any of the allegations made by the Sussexes directly. So we can only speculate, but it wouldn't be surprising if it was true.
And look, I think from where I'm sitting, it has become quite noticeable that as the coronation approaches and we focus on the coronation, the Sussexes have fallen a little bit away from the news. We know Meghan's not coming. We know Harry is coming. But this last week has really changed focus, I think.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it was quite ironic that the Sussexes spokesperson said that Meghan is living her life, and that allegations of the letter that she wrote King Charles when she was in the royal family about her unhappiness with some of the comments that members of the royal family made with regards to, the color of Archie's skin. She's made the point of saying she's just living her life and she doesn't want any drama, which is incredible because that's basically what she and her husband have been up to in the last 2 to 3 years. They've basically made all this furore based on their relationship with the royal family. But it's clear that they've decided to take a step back. Now, I'm not sure how long that is going to last. There have been reports that they have signed a 4-book deal with Penguin Random House. Now, we don't know what the contents of those books will be, other than the fact that Harry's autobiographical memoir, Spare, has made a lot of headlines and has been very successful. But you really have to ask how long this distance they're trying to create with the royal family will last. Even Prince Harry attending the coronation, he's expected to not stay in the UK for more than 24 hours. So clearly he is trying to put some distance between him and his family.
Onto the coronation, and we know that Prince Harry is going. There has been a bit of backwards and forwards about how long he's staying and the extent of his involvement. Where has that finally landed?
Well, Prince Harry has no role effectively in the coronation ceremony. He's expected to be in and out of the UK within under 48 hours. And he's expected to head back to Montecito to celebrate his son Archie's 4th birthday. He will not be in the balcony. He will not take part in any of the coronation ceremony in any way, shape or form. He's basically like a guest. And reports have come out that this actually was to make King Charles happy. Apparently, the relationship between Harry and his brother William is still on rocky territory. We haven't heard any news from Buckingham Palace regarding whether there will be a meeting or any sort of reconciliation attempts or anything like that. So it's clear that it's a very quick trip in and out. And that's very telling about where, the Sussexes particularly, where their role is within the royal family, which is effectively nothing. King Charles has made it very clear that he's always wanted to slim down the monarchy, and that's clearly what he is doing. In his New Year's speech, he, wished his son and Meghan well while they build their life overseas, but it was really just one line. So he's made it very clear that since the Sussexes have decided to leave the royal family as active working members of the firm, they will have no place, not in the coronation ceremony and certainly not in future engagements, which is quite unfortunate.
Now, on to Charles, and there's this great footage of Charles as an 18-year-old.
I like to think of us more as a family rather than a firm. I think my family is very special people. And in that sense, I'm only beginning to see my parents and the rest of my family as other people, do you know what I mean?
Esther, do you think those sentiments would remain in Charles? And if so, do you think that that will impact the way he guides the royal family going forward?
You can certainly see reflections of that sort of sentiment in his day-to-day life. The fact that he even wanted Prince Harry at his coronation ceremony shows that he really does see his family as something to be cherished, and he's really trying to treat it more as a family than a firm, even though it is effectively both, and he is both leader of his family and the firm. Clearly, Prince Harry has different views on that and the extent to which he thinks family should take precedence over the firm, or really the extent to which both of them even relate to each other. But it's clear that with King Charles's very unique upbringing, knowing that he was always destined to be the monarch, it's quite heartwarming to know that he had a view of his family as more of a family than a firm. Obviously, that dynamic of that has changed significantly, but it is quite heartwarming to see those sentiments being resonated.
I think you make a really good point there, Esther. In my view, it really softens Charles, particularly given how loved the Queen was, and Charles has got big shoes to fill. What do you think?
I think you're absolutely right. I think it does humanize him to a large extent. This is a family that are still very traditional, still very hierarchical. This is a family that writes letters to each other. And these are the kind of correspondence that the media uses to actually tell what relations are going on within the royal family. But just to know that this is what he thought, and he really tried to view his family as a family more than a firm, it really does humanize him, and it creates a different perspective into what life in the royal family is like, especially now that he is leader of both the family and the firm.
Now, while we're focusing on the coronation, we are hearing that the royal family is ready to crack on with core business once it's done. What's the view?
Well, yes. The coronation is not without its controversy. You still do have Republicans that are not too keen on the royal family. But overall, it is, very much looked forward to event. But the reality is they have to get on with business. They have a lot of engagements to do this year, particularly because their workload has really increased substantially with the exit of the Sussexes. I don't think most people understand that the Queen was very keen to have the Sussexes play a significant role in representing her and the family in the future, just because of kind of, the positive benefit they would have from having the first biracial woman in the royal family, and Harry, who was at the time one of the most popular members of the royal family. So the fact that the monarchy is going to be slimmed down and it's going to play more central roles in effectively British diplomacy, their workload has increased to a significant degree. So I think they'll be quite keen to show that it's business as usual and it's not just all the pomp and circumstance of coronation ceremonies.
So lastly, William has a special role during the coronation service. Can you tell us about it and what's its significance?
Yes, so we know that William, as the future monarch, does have quite a central role in the monarchy and in the royal family. And in this ceremony, he will be participating in the section known as the Homage of Royal Blood, where he'll be effectively swearing his loyalty to the king, which is quite a central part of this ceremony as the future monarch himself. And look, it has been clear that William was going to always take a central part of this ceremony, as well as his son, who will also be the future monarch and who is second in line to the throne. And it kind of just shows the contrast, how, he went from effectively being third in line and having a very significant role in the royal family to now really being at the center of it. His father is clearly in his 70s, and his reign will be shorter than his mother's reign. So he will have a central role both in this ceremony and in future royal engagements to come.
Esther Krakue, thank you so much for joining us. I look forward to chatting with you next time.